£117 million. That's the British transfer record Chelsea have just broken, and it's not for an out-and-out striker or a traditional winger. It's for a player Aston Villa were deploying just left of center, comfortable drifting wide or staying central, who has never really had a fixed position at all. So what exactly are Chelsea buying in Morgan Rogers? What problem does he actually solve for Xabi Alonso? And where does he fit alongside Cole Palmer and Joao Pedro? Let's get into it. Start with the profile, because Rogers isn't a like-for-like replacement for anyone currently at Stamford Bridge, and that's precisely the point. His gift is carrying the ball through broken lines rather than around them. When Villa were pressed high, Rogers was the outlet who could receive on the half-turn under pressure and drive 30, 40 yards up the pitch without losing control, which is a completely different profile from a winger who needs the ball in space to be effective. That matters enormously for a Chelsea side moving to Alonso's possession-heavy, suffocate and dominate territory model, because that system depends on players who can retain the ball in tight areas and still progress it vertically when the pressing trigger is sprung. Rogers does this as well as almost anyone in the league his age. The second part of the gift is physical. Chelsea's recruitment staff have been open about one thing missing from the squad: genuine physical presence in the final third. Players who can win second balls and duels rather than just link play. Rogers isn't just technically gifted, he's imposing in the challenge, comfortable competing aerially in areas most creative players avoid. And the World Cup only reinforced the case. Starting for England in their semi-final defeat to Argentina, Rogers still found a moment of composure to tee up Anthony Gordon inside a packed final third. The exact kind of individual quality that separates a squad player from a marquee one. Add in a first full Villa season that returned double-figure goals and assists, and you can see why Chelsea moved before Arsenal could. Now the gaps. Look at Chelsea's left side over the last 12 months, and it's been a problem zone. Alejandro Garnacho arrived with fanfare and struggled to nail down the position. Jamie Gittins hasn't forced his way past him either. And the knock-on effect is that Chelsea's width down that side has been inconsistent at best. Rogers doesn't fix that by being a winger, because he isn't one. He fixes it by giving Alonso a genuine interior threat on the left who can operate in the half space rather than needing the touchline, which suits a system built on players occupying central overloads rather than stretching play horizontally. The second gap is more subtle and arguably more important. For the last year, Chelsea's creative burden in the pockets between the lines has sat almost entirely on Cole Palmer. Good defensive sides know this. Shut down Palmer's zone, cut the passing lane into him, and Chelsea's attack loses its main source of unpredictability. Rogers changes that equation completely, because now you have two players capable of operating in exactly the same zone independently of each other. A backline can't commit an extra body to nullify one of them without opening space for the other. And with Joao Pedro also comfortable dropping off the front line to combine, Alonso now has a genuine rotating triangle in the final third, rather than one standout creator surrounded by runners. That's a structural upgrade, not just a talent upgrade. On the formation itself, Alonso has stayed deliberately vague, but the pattern from his career gives a strong clue. At Bayer Leverkusen, he built a title-winning side on a 3-4-2-1, wing-backs providing the width, two underneath a central striker given total freedom to drift. At Real Madrid, it was closer to a 4-3-3. Given the personnel Chelsea already have and the ones they're chasing this summer, the back three looks the more likely base, and it's easy to see why once you map Rogers onto it. In goal, this is genuinely contested. Robert Sanchez has had good spells without fully convincing, while Mike Penders has been building a case on loan at Strasbourg, and could be a bold early call from the new manager. In the back three, Levi Colwill returning from his ACL injury is the likely axis in the middle, with Jarell Hato holding down the left side of that three after a promising debut season. The right side of the back three is genuinely open. Chelsea have been linked with defensive reinforcements over the summer, so treat that spot as unresolved rather than settled. Further forward, Captain Reece James is the key swing piece. He can play right center back, right wing back, or even a midfield role. And that versatility is exactly what Alonso likes to have available. Expect him on the right of the back three, or as the right wing-back depending on the opponent. Moises Caicedo is close to undroppable in the double pivot, and his midfield partner is another position Chelsea are still expected to strengthen. On the left wingback spot, that's another area to watch in the market, though it's the least important decision on the pitch given how narrow and interior this front line is going to play anyway. Which brings us to the front three, and this is where the Rodgers signing really pays off. Palmer and Rodgers operate as the two attacking midfielders underneath Joao Pedro, both licensed to drift inside from either half, rotating so a defender can never be sure who's occupying which pocket. Pedro, fresh off a genuinely excellent debut season in front of goal, anchors as the central point, holding up play and giving both Palmer and Rodgers a target to combine around and run beyond. It's a front three that doesn't need fixed width to be dangerous, which is exactly the profile Alonso built his Leverkusen title around. None of this is about whether Rodgers fits, by the way. On raw profile, he's arguably the cleanest signing Chelsea have made in years. The real question for Alonso is a selection headache in the best possible sense. How you fit three interior forwards who all want the same zones into one structure without one of them feeling shortchanged. That's a significantly better problem to have than the one Chelsea walked into this summer with. What's your Chelsea 11 with Rodgers in it? Drop it down in the comments.